Well, good afternoon, YouTube. I was sitting here kind of waiting on to get some things gathered up for me to load up, and I figured I'd go over a little piece of Bible scripture, if you will. You know, I am somewhat religious. I'm Christian by faith. I do read the Bible some, and I just don't attend church very often. And I have my reasons, and they probably ain't very good reasons, but they're my reasons and for me to deal with. But I got to thinking this morning about some different choices that I have made. And I was undecisive on unsure on some of them. There's a particular scripture in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, that talks about some stuff like that. And if you ever find yourself in a decision that you're unsure of, this scripture might help. Anyway, it's Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. That ought to be pretty self-explanatory. But in the case that it's not, sorry about that, had a little hair on my glasses. I seem to be losing hair. My woman, she can lose 10 million hairs out of her head, and she still got a full head of hair. I started losing mine 2 years ago, and I got about a 6 head now instead of a 4 head. But anyway, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. God already has a plan for each and every one of us on this earth, whether we want to accept it or not. So if something, you don't understand why you're going through something, or why you've went through something, that you're part of a bigger plan in some way, shape, or form. And it says, in all ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Now, I want to touch base on that right there, because a lot of people, they just kind of read it, and they don't really read into it. That means in whatever you do, and this actually touches back on a video I made of my take on blue collar workers and why I drive a truck. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. That means you glorify God in whatever you do in life. Because without him, we would all be nothing. We'd be miserable about like 3/4 of the Democratic Party down in D.C., And if you don't give thanks, I mean, each day is a gift. You've got to give thanks for each day. You know, if you do have a talent or a skill, you know, he's the reason behind that, not you. So, yeah, if you're having hard decisions in life and, you know, you don't know why you're going through stuff, that's like me. A couple years ago, I went through a divorce. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just told one day she didn't love me no more, and she basically wanted out. I was upset about it, but then this scripture kept popping into my head during the divorce. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding, but in your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. I didn't know why I was going through it, but I can tell you right now, with the only part that I'm not exactly happy about is not having my little boy all the time. But I am a lot happier of a person. My family has noticed a big difference. I'm a lot healthier. So maybe I went through that to help somebody else who might end up going through that or something. I don't know. But I kept that scripture in the back of my head through the whole thing. Lean not into your own understanding. And it definitely made a difference. I went through a lot there a couple years ago. Just wasn't a very good situation. And that's the same way with several other things that has happening and is happening now. Like I said in the last video there, when my mom had brain cancer and brain tumors, and she spent like the last, I think, 6 years of her life in a nursing home because Dad couldn't take care of her anymore because she was just too bad. And lean not. It's you trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. And that woman was a walking miracle, because when she first found out about those brain tumors, they gave her 4 years at most to live. Even after she had them taken out. Yeah, they performed a brain surgery and removed the tumor out of the center of her brain. They only gave her 4 years to live after that. But she lived another 20. And it's hard to tell how many lives that she changed in that 20 years span. And watching my dad take care of her all this time, you know, that really put things into perspective. Because if you don't trust in him, you're going to be miserable with every little bump that life throws at you. But everything in this world happens for a reason. We may not always know what that reason is, but I feel that a lot of it has to do with this particular Bible verse that I'm reading here on a piece of paper I wrote down. And once again, it's Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. So that was a little bit of a daily Bible verse for today, if you will. I don't know. I'm not even sure why I made a video on that. But I got to thinking about that and thinking through all the things that I've been through in my life. You know, from way back when I was a wee little bitty feller of about 3 years old and in and out of foster care. So I went, you know, through a little bit of a rebellious stage in my teenage years. Until I even decided to go meet my biological father in the last 5 years of his life. Me and him were pretty good friends. And, you know, going through the divorce, and my little boy was 6 at the time, and that was kind of hard to explain to him why mommy and daddy didn't live together anymore. But I found, I found a way to do it where he could understand it. And I think all in all, it's made me a lot better man to go through some of this stuff. But that's just my opinion. But no, that's, like I said, we're just sitting here and that Bible verse popped into my head, so I figured, well, why not? You know, a lot of people make videos of different stuff. I figured, well, I could probably do a video or two of some Bible verses and talk about them a little bit. I am far from a preacher, so don't get me confused with the preacher. I'm far from any kind of being religious like that, but I do read the Bible, and I do pray, and I am Christian by faith. And there's several scriptures that's helped me over the years, and I'll be glad to share them with you. So we might do that every now and again, and do a little Bible verse talking about, if you will. But once again, I'm no preacher. I never want to be a preacher. Unless he calls me to be a preacher, and then, I'll be a preaching truck driver. But until then, I'm just a truck driver who's been through a lot in life and just felt like sharing some of the scripture with you. But it sure is nice. Get outside, enjoy the sunshine. It's blue skies today. Lord, it's probably about 80 degrees on top of this mountain today. But yeah, go outside, enjoy life. You know, get the kids outside, get them off the video games, off the computers, get them out throwing baseball, playing basketball, or, just get out, take them fishing, or even just go for a walk in the woods. It'd be a really good day just to go for a walk. So, well, YouTube, you all take care. Squirrel Hunter out.